Hey, speak for yourself, listeners. Before we start the show, I wanted to tell you about our brand new Fox Sports app and website, foxsports.com. Reimagined for the modern sports fan. Go ahead, download the new app now. You don't even have to pause this episode. Every day on the new app and website, you'll see the top stories in sports, plus a rich world of written content, videos, social media, and analytics to give you a 360-degree view of the most important stories of the day. Streaming live TV has never been so easy or elegant. Every Fox Sports game, including all pregame and postgame shows, are just one click away. For the extra invested fan, we also go deep with real-time wagering lines, trending prop bets, win probability, and key player projections. So download the new Fox Sports app or visit www.foxsports.com. Now, let's start the show. Welcome to Speak for Yourself. Marcellus Wiley here. Bishop Marcellus Wiley here. Emmanuel Acho over there.
My dog, you thought you had a clean W.
I did. I can't go harder than this. And then I'm looking over there with straight envy and jealousy. Like, damn, another loss. All right, let's get it started with a winner. And the Chiefs. KC spoiled Drew Brees' return yesterday with a close 3-point win. Patrick Mahomes had his 300-yard passing streak snapped, but he still threw 3 touchdown passes. The Chiefs have now won 9 straight, but their last 6 wins have only been by 1 possession, Acho. So did the Chiefs prove they're the best team in the NFL?
Oh, my dog. The Chiefs confirmed that they are the best team in the NFL. They confirmed it.
Good word.
They didn't have to prove it. They had already proved it, but yesterday they confirmed it. At least they confirmed it to me. I'm not sure about where you stand. Think about this, Marcellus. The Saints' defense hadn't allowed more than 30 points since September 27th.
Okay.
It has been about 3 months. My guy.
3 months.
Since they allowed over 30 points. Chiefs did that yesterday. Saints had their future first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback in Drew Brees. I understand they didn't have Michael Thomas. They ain't really had Michael Thomas all season. And the Saints team is still a 10-win team, but the Chiefs still dominated them. But I also look at it like this. The most glaring statistic, what I was looking for, that lucky number was 28. Okay. Again, you know this, Patrick Mahomes, he's 31-1 if you don't score at least 28 points.
Gotta get him.
So I was looking for that lucky number. Will the Saints even have a chance? Will the Saints even have a chance? You got to score 28 just to have a chance. I said, will they even have a chance? Well, Drew Brees, he scored 15 unanswered at the end of the first half. Then he comes back in the second half. He still throws these punches. Oh, the Saints had a chance. Marcellus, even when you got a chance against these Chiefs, you really don't have a chance at all. The Chiefs confirmed that they are the best team in the NFL, because I'm going to end my first lap like this. You beat the Saints, playoff team, arguably the best team in the NFC.
Chill.
You beat the...
Ain't no argument. They're not number 1 seed. We going to argue that they're the number 1 seed?
We argue on the show, and that's what I argue.
Boy, when you get into that motor road,
okay?
I'm starting to stop them rolls down the hill now.
Okay, the Saints,
arguing.
A top 2 team in the NFC.
And they not one.
I'm sorry.
A top 2, but you're not one.
A top 2 team in the NFC.
Okay.
They beat the Dolphins, playoff team. Dismantled the Bucs, playoff team.
Okay.
Beat the Bills, playoff team. Then early on, week 3, when the Ravens were coming in hot this season to avenge their playoff loss, unanimous MVP, they dismantled them early. You've seen the Chiefs be great early. You've seen the Chiefs be great late. You've seen the Chiefs be great in between. Chiefs proved again they're the best team in the NFL.
Okay. You know I disagree with you, obviously, by me trying to interrupt you, rolling down the hill with your verb and word count, trying to go so fast that I'm not catching everything you say. They didn't prove anything yesterday. They didn't prove that they're the best team in NFL. I really have a problem, I think, right now with hearing the word best, because we're not in proven season right now. We're in setup for proving season right now in the regular season. The playoffs will determine all of this, Acho. But since you want to talk about they're the best team, when, me, lazily, I like to say, who's the favorite to win it all right now? I can say the Chiefs, but are they the best team in the NFL? No, they have imperfections. They have warts like every other team. Are they undefeated? No. Oh, but you want to stand on the premise of, look at them. They've won 22 of their last 23 games. Oh, they're 13-1. And then I push back, Acho, because we both went to school, but not the same school. Let me tell you about what I learned at my school.
Can't tell.
You don't know if that was a good point or bad point, but run with me, big dog. They are the 9th team since 2000 to go 13-1 or better. 9th team. How many of those teams have won a Super Bowl of those 9?
Probably one.
Well, Yeah. Probably one. All these ambiguous terms, probably. Yes, only one. Only one. Wait a minute. Did I just say teams that start 13-1 or better actually have a losing win percentage when it comes to winning it all? So I don't understand why we're sitting here right now with a premise or even a conversation about, are they the best? Prove it. Prove it. And you're going to have your opportunity to prove it in front of you. But right now, I'm not standing on their record, and I'm not standing on what I've seen in these performances. Be real. There's a difference between performance and outcome, especially when it comes to this team. Too many close games we've seen early and of late with this same team that we're trying to say is nearly perfect. They're not nearly perfect, and that's how they could get caught slipping in the playoffs.
You're so intelligent. I don't understand how you get tripped up over a word. Sal, I didn't ask you.
You didn't ask me anything.
Asked you. You didn't ask me. Did the Chiefs prove they're Super Bowl champions this year? No.
Best team?
You said, did they prove that they are the best team in the NFL? That's incredibly simple. It's incredible. To be the best, you have to do what? You have to beat the best.
Beat the best. Who's the best team this year?
Well, the Chiefs. But if you want to,
that's last year.
If you want to disregard the Chiefs,
why are we doing this?
Let's beat the best or one of the best teams in the NFC.
That was my point.
Let's beat the best or one of the best teams, Bills, in the AFC.
Okay.
Let's beat the best coached or one of the best coached teams in the Miami Dolphins. Let's beat the most talented or one of the most talented teams in the Buccaneers. What else do you want to see? And I'm going to put it in context for you because I got this full screen. The Chiefs at the Bills, at the Bucs, at the Dolphins, at the Ravens, they're 5-0. Marcel, let's digest this because you can't digest it. Well, no, you can digest tangible things, obviously. Digest this intellectual thing if you can, please. 5-0 at the Bills, at the Bucs, at the Dolphins, at the Ravens, at the Saints. Rest of the NFL is 7-24. How does that not mean anything to you? 30 points per game. Rest of the NFL, 20 points per game against elite or top-tier teams. So, this is an easy question. This, sir, is a layup, and you going off the top. How you missing layups, Sal?
How I'm missing layups? Because I shoot these threes, baby. My game is on the outside. Anybody can shoot layups, but come on out here with Steph Curry and me. Then let's see if you can make these shots right here. When I look at a team that is ready for a playoff run, as this team should be ready to try and repeat for its Super Bowl title, you start to look at individual components of the team. You don't just look at it in totality or just by the record. That's lazy. Let's get deeper than that. Let's look at a team that in totality, the defense is struggling, offense trending in the wrong direction in comparison to who they should be and who they've been. I pointed out, let's start with Patrick Mahomes. 1 giveaway through his first 9 games. All right, that's Patrick Mahomes. Duh. What about the last 5 games? 6 giveaways. Not a ton, but not the same pace we saw earlier. Whatever. That may be me being hyper-focused and hypercritical.
It is.
Well, how about this one then? What about the fact that they have allowed 20 scrimmage touchdowns this year, over the last 6 games, I should say, and the Steelers have allowed 26 the whole year? Wait a minute. Are they in the same conference? Okay, so a team that plays stingier defense may be a team you see going forward. Interesting. You brought up the Dolphins, another playoff team, Morel. Only 30 this whole year. And y'all giving up 20 in the last 6 games. The point is, not everything is pointing in the right direction. You have the outcomes you desire. You have a lot of nail biters in there as well, Acho. That's what I want to highlight. The fact that there isn't the same room for error as we expect based off of this record.
I'm going to end this conversation, and I'm going to end you very simply. Marcellus, you're smart. That's what I love about you. My favorite thing about you is you're smart. Not that you made a lot of money, not that you're a nice guy, not that you're a great father, a great husband.
So you're nothing like my wife did, because she likes all the rest.
The only thing I care about is your intellect, because I can have intelligent conversations with you. So I'm going to talk smart with you, big dog. The Chiefs, they've allowed 20 points or less 8 times this year. 20 points or less 8 times this year. Leads the NFL. So when all y'all at home, when your homeboys try to tell y'all the Chiefs can't play defense, just let them know. Chiefs have allowed 20 points or less 8 times this year. Leads the NFL. So they've allowed 28 points or more. Only 4 times this year. Okay, this one thing's got to get in the election.
Let's go.
This one we got to get in the election. Now, I just told you, in order to beat the Chiefs, you have to score at least 28. The only way to beat the Chiefs, you got to score at least 28. They've only allowed 28 or more 4 times this year. Of the 4 teams that did it, only 1 team beat them. So, Sal, even when you buy a lotto ticket, you know you can't win the lotto unless you buy a ticket. Even when you buy a lotto ticket, which is scoring more than 28 against the Chiefs, there's only 1 team that won the lotto when they bought a ticket.
You're in trouble.
So the only one. So even if you're lucky enough, not luck, because a game of football is not much luck, but even if you're fortunate enough on that Sunday to score 28 or more, there's only a 1 in 4 chance you do win. Now keep in mind, 8 teams don't even buy a ticket. So 8 teams, if you get on the field, Marcellus, 8 of them teams that played the Chiefs this year didn't even have a chance. Of the 14, 8 didn't even have a chance. The 4 that even had a chance only won 1. There's nothing else to be said about the Chiefs being the best except for the fact of half the teams don't even got a shot at beating them. And the 4 teams that had a shot, only 1 found a way to do it. Oh, and that same team that found a way to do it, the Raiders, they lost.
Yeah.
The next time they
first.
I ain't got nothing else to say, big dog.
Well, you know, intellectuals don't die easy. Just because all we're doing is exchanging thoughts and ideas. So guess what? You can't kill my ideas. I'm just going to go out and reconfigure my idea. How's their running game looking, Acho? Since we're going to talk playoff football. Oh! Was that a concession?
He got hurt.
Was you giving me to this point? Or you conceded? He got hurt. He may not be there for the playoffs, but I don't even know if we're going to notice the difference. They're so one-dimensional right now in terms of their running performances. Have they had a 100-yard rusher since week 6? I'll ask everybody in America. You guys could chime in, hit us up on Twitter. Anybody that knows his answer, since Acho doesn't want to speak right now. Have they had a 100-yard rusher since week 6? No, doesn't look like it. I wonder if that's going to come into play when you get into the playoffs. We got teams out there like Derrick Henry's had 9 himself. You look at the fact that Dalvin Cook has had 8 himself. But now you have a team that doesn't even have that many themselves. Interesting. So you're trying to tell me that Patrick Mahomes is going to be one-dimensional. Hey, he's Patrick Mahomes. He can do it all. Can he? When it's one-dimensional, your running game, Edwards-Helaire is going to be out the regular season and maybe the playoffs. We'll see how that heals up. You don't have a strong running game. And you think this year, teams that is going to see this team without balance. And last year, you were down 10 points in the playoffs, down 24 points in the playoffs, down 10 points in the fourth quarter. You think right now that this is going to be cakewalk, or they're going to come out unscathed in this process when they're now going into it without the same level of defense and they're one-dimensional. Acho, you got anything?
That take was decent.
That was a good one.
That was a decent take. It was, you were in the pass or fail class in your past, because to fail, you got to get a D- or below. I'll give that take a C. Here's what I'll say. Marcellus, growing up, my parents came from Nigeria to America, so we didn't really have
How old were they when they came?
When they came here, I think Pops was 31, Mom's might have been 24. Late 70s, early 80s.
Your 20s from Nigeria to America? Whoa,
so peep this, though. They come to America. We didn't have that much money. Came to America, didn't really have much anything. So every summer, we would go on these trips from Dallas to Mississippi, and we would drive. We would drive because we didn't really have much bread.
How long?
So we drove about 8 hours. 8 hours.
Chill, that's limit, Pops. Chill.
8 hours. But then, Marcellus, as an adult, as I've stumbled into more money, I fly, because why drive when you can fly? So the Chiefs, you're talking to me about their running game. Why drive when you can fly, big dog? They won the Super Bowl last year with the 24th ranked rushing offense without Clyde Edwards-Helaire, that first-round pick who just got hurt yesterday. They won the Super Bowl already without him.
They had somebody better.
Why drive, big dog? Why drive when you can fly? I'm not worried about the Chiefs' lack of a running game. I'm not. And I'm also not worried about taking road trips to Mississippi anymore. I'm going to fly, and preferably first class. Why drive, big dog, if you can fly?
I can tell you why. One, it's not cost-effective. It's not cost-efficient. Like, the reason why all y'all was in that car, that station, that Subaru, whatever the hell y'all pushing, you know why? Because Daddy said 5 flights for 5. He's like, and that's going to be the Chiefs. They're going to wish they could drive. They're going to wish they had a running game because Patrick Mahomes sack. What? The Dolphins. Remember the Dolphins game? How close that was? Nail-biter, where they gave up 3 sacks, 30-yard sacks, and Patrick Mahomes looked a little average for himself. That's why you got to have balance. I'm not wishing bad on this team, and I don't foresee bad with this team. But I do know there's a plan of attack to exploit their weakness. Let's see if teams can go out there and do that same thing. Coming up at the top of the hour, the Browns won their 10th game yesterday. We'll tell you if Baker Mayfield's squad is for real. But first, Tom Brady led Tampa to a huge comeback win Sunday. We'll tell you if we trust the Bucs down the stretch. That's next. Speak for yourself. Did they meet at the club?
What's up, Speak for Yourself listeners? It's your boy Shay Sharp, co-host of FS1's Undisputed. I wanted to tell you about my new podcast, Club Shay Shay, where we always do something before 2 something. Each week, I sit down with a guest for a drink and conversation, and as host and proprietor of Club Shay Shay, I welcome in esteemed guests such as Snoop Dogg, Floyd Money Mayweather, LeVar Ball, Isaiah Thomas, just to mention a few. Whether I'm talking to an athlete, a musician, an actor, or a lifelong friend, Club Shay Shay is a place where people share inspiring and motivational stories about their journeys to prominence. The new episode drops every Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to Club Shay Shay now and make sure you never miss a new episode. Now, back to Speak for Yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. The Buccaneers were down by 17 points to the Falcons in the third quarter yesterday until Tom Brady had a Super Bowl flashback. Tampa outscored Atlanta 24-3 down the stretch, capped off by a 46-yard TD from Brady to AB. That's Antonio Brown.
My dog.
Right now, the Bucs are in the 6th seed in the NFC, but Brady said they have to, quote, play our best for 60 minutes as opposed to 30. I hear you, Tom Brady. That's fact. So, Marcellus, do you trust Tom Brady's Bucs down the stretch?
I do trust the Bucs. I do trust Tom Brady down the stretch. Obviously, postseason ball is synonymous with Tom Brady and his success. So you know that when it comes to this moment in time, Tom Brady's going to show up for that moment. Now, it's a team game, and it's a team accolade to go out there and say we're Super Bowl champions. So he's going to need everyone in tow for them to go out there and achieve their goals. That said, ooh, Tampa. Yeah, I don't even know how to say this, but in life, I remember in high school at least 3 different moments when I really wanted to go to that party. And then my mama was like, hell no. My mom was 6'1", 250. So when she said no, I felt no. I felt
all
no.
that no.
Through her words, I felt the no.
I respect
so,
it.
okay, mama said 6'1", 250, bigger than me at this time in high school. Nah, you ain't going. Okay. And then, you know, you're on the phone still with your friends and you're trying to figure out the soft response to, nah, I can't go. But my mama said no. It's, nah, man, what time is it going to start? Oh, what time is it going to end? I got practice. Oh, I got to do some push-ups. Like, you're making up stuff. Then finally your boy says, oh, you can't go? Okay. Then you start thinking about, maybe I need to sneak in. Maybe I need to just go any way I can go. But I got to deal with mama if mama catches me. Facts. Here's the thing. Just imagine that this Tom Brady team that wanted to be the #1 seed, obviously, wanted to win the division, obviously, because look at the perks of that. But then there are some good things that can happen from you hearing a no. That's not happening for you. My mama told me no. I heard about shootings at all those parties. Pat, 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 pat. Thank you, mama. What about the Tom Brady and the Bucs? Guess what they lined up for? The NFC East winner in the first round of the playoffs. Is that a bye week, basically? You get to play Washington, Giants, Dallas. They're trending right now to play that team that comes out the NFC least. Oh, I'm glad that somebody upstairs said it. Nah, y'all not going to get everything you want, but it's still going to be good to you, good for you. I look at this team right now establishing a winning, never say die culture. Why? Down 17-0. Acho and his team's back, well, looking at your record, y'all would have tapped out. Y'all ain't having Tom Brady on your squad, and Acho, you want Tom Brady either. I keep telling you that. You hate that point. I know how to jab you. Point being, Tom Brady, in these moments, he doesn't flinch. He doesn't blink. And that's why his team didn't flinch. His team didn't blink. 5 years prior to Tom Brady, using the same team and organization, that team was 7-36 in second half comebacks, the Buccaneers. Oh, what about Tom Brady this year? Already 3 comeback victories for this same team. He is planning the season. You're starting to see a blossom of a winning culture that will pay dividends once we go forward in the postseason.
Marcellus, you're a funny man. You're a funny man. I can always tell you're going to give me a terrible take when you take me through an elaborate story, but you never land said plane. Sir,
I did land the plane.
No, it was an incredibly, captivating take. I wish you were reading it to me as a book, well, Emmanuel, once upon a time. But as far as making real sports sense, you didn't make any of it. No, I don't trust Tom Brady's Bucs.
What?
You shouldn't trust Tom Brady's Bucs. The whole season, Tom Brady's Bucs have been deceptive. Now, I understand. We're on two sides of the coin here. I have trust issues. You do not.
Okay.
But it's becoming even more so apparent when we debate this topic. Marcel, why would I trust this Buccaneers team when the defense, which has actually been who we should depend on all season long, 23rd ranked defense since week 7. Now, that might sound like, okay, Acho, you're nitpicking stats. Don't do that to me. Let's talk about it. Falcons scored 27. Chiefs scored 27. Rams scored 27. Panthers scored 23. Saints scored 38. You're right. I skipped a game. I skipped the Vikings game. They only scored 14. They also missed 10 points worth of field goals and extra points. Historically bad night since 1961. So I can't trust Tom Brady's Bucs because before I even get to Brady's Bucs, can I talk about the defense of the Bucs? The defense which we hung our hat on dating back to the Packers game, which the whole world watched, and we said, oh, these Bucs is legit. Defense gone now, coach. The other reason I can't trust Brady's Bucs, I've said this last week, I will say it again. You brought Bruce Arians brought. Buccaneers fans brought Tom Brady to Tampa to win playoff games against playoff teams.
And we haven't played in the playoffs yet. So
haven't.
So we're good.
But you know what you have
Next
done?
point,
What you have done, you played playoff teams. Marcellus, I'm not going to clap. I'm telling you, I ain't used this in a while, and I'm glad I missed it.
I know where you're going. Don't tell me about no fish swimming and stuff. You going there?
I'm not going to applaud a fish for swimming, and I will not applaud Tom Brady for beating bad teams. You want me to clap for Tom Brady? Clap for yourself. You want me to clap for Tom Brady for beating a 4-10 Falcons team without a head coach? That's what you want me to do?
Don't do that to the Falcons.
Marcellus, Jameis Winston, even Jameis beat bad teams. We got the full screen. I don't got to lie to you. Let's look at the Bucs quarterbacks the last 2 seasons. Jameis was 7-3. And then actually, I think, Jameis was 7-3 versus non-playoff teams. I might be reading that wrong. Tom Brady was 8-1 versus non-playoff teams. But Jameis was 0-6 versus playoff teams. Tom Brady only 1-4 versus playoff teams. We brought Tom Brady. I don't say we can. I ain't do it. But y'all brought Tom Brady to Tampa to beat playoff teams, not to beat the Falcons. I did not gain any trust in Tom Brady's Bucs for overcoming a 17-point deficit against the Atlanta Falcons. Sorry, sir.
Look, I get it. When I see Atlanta Falcons, I think of 2 things. 1, they ain't that good. And 2, they're going to let you come back in those games no matter how many points they score in the early parts. That said, you always remind me of how the Philadelphia Eagles perform in December. You always say the latter part of the season, resilient bunch, they're going to find a way to dig themselves out of the same hole that they dug for themselves. Atlanta Falcons kind of in the same breath. Last year, how did the Atlanta Falcons finish up their season? With 4 straight victories, 6 of the last 8. Only reason I bring that up is because I knew this would occur once again this year. The Atlanta Falcons is just one of those teams that can't get right. As soon as you count them out, they're like, no, we're here. Then as soon as you start banking on them, they're like, no, we're not that good. And that's what the Atlanta Falcons are. They are a dangerous team if you just look at the numbers, if you just look at the names. But if you look at the execution, that's when you have to scratch your head. Looking at the Bucs going against them, I knew that was going to be a dogfight. It's the end of the year. Atlanta's not going anywhere, and that's when they turn it on. That said, I'm still looking at Tom Brady as the cherry on top with this situation. They came to an understanding in philosophy, which will take a little of the exclamation point off of this team. In terms of offense or defensive production, you won't see the extremes you saw under Bruce Arians when he had full control. With Tom Brady there, he likes complimentary football, boring football. Look how the Patriots won for all of those years, for 20 years, 2 decades worth of, at times, yawn football. But at the same breath, they always found themselves in moments of victory or at least in contention. How can you now look at a team that has 9 victories, last year only 7, they still have 2 games to go, could be an 11-5 bunch, and you're looking at this team as not a team that you're believing in going down the stretch?
Because I'm trusting you down the stretch. Down the stretch means playoff games. Down the stretch doesn't mean against the Detroit Lions. Okay, sure. But what is the now? The here and now is tomorrow, the next week, the next week. The next week is the playoffs.
Yeah, but you're playing against teams that have nothing to lose, which is a dangerous opponent. And then you're playing against teams, the NFC East is your first round opponent, whoever that is. Come on, man. This team's going to be in the thick of things.
Well, I'm not going to get distracted. I'm going to come back. I'm going to write this down. I'm going to come back to that NFC East point. Let me ask you this, though, big dog.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, what position group was his favorite target last year, over the last 3 years?
Running backs.
Running backs. Good answer.
Yeah.
But running backs for the Buccaneers, Leonard Fournette, the lead running back as of now, Ronald Jones is hurt. He's tied for the league in drops. So the one thing, like the safety valve is what you call it in football. The running backs were Tom Brady's safety valve. If all else fails, I'm going to check it down to my running back. He had James White. He had Rex Burkhead. If everything goes wrong, here is my safety valve. It's like having a safety school. It's like if anything goes bad, I'm going to go back to this school. Tom Brady's safety valve, the Buccaneers, it's leaky. The running backs, Leonard Fournette, it's leaky. So that's my other issue. That's the other reason I don't trust him. But how about this? I'm going to use Tom Brady against himself and really against your argument. Yesterday, Tom Brady talking about Antonio Brown, and I'm going to cut a little bit out of the quote, but he says this: as a quarterback, it's tough sometimes because you have a lot of guys you open and you have to distribute the football to different guys. He says Mike Evans gets a lot of looks. Chris Godwin gets a lot of looks. AB gets a lot of looks, but this is the part you got to pay attention to. You can't split the football in 3 or 4 different ways.
Oh, damn it.
I told you at the beginning of the season this was an issue. But you were like, when I hear y'all got too much talent, that just tells me you scared. Well, how about when Tom Brady says, as a quarterback, there's one ball and you can split it in 3 or 4? That's an issue to me because why, Marcellus, who are you going to depend on in the playoffs? AB? Scotty Miller was a hero last week. AB was a hero this week. Mike Evans has been the hero 3 or 4 times this past year. Who are you going to depend on if you're the Buccaneers? What's your identity? You don't have one.
Oh, stop that, please. I don't see too much football to know that you can have a carousel of characters and get the job done. You don't have to depend on just one. Who's the lead guy? Who's the alpha? You remember the greatest show on turf? You want to name how many good receivers they had? 97?
Isaac, Bruce, Marshall, Falk.
And, wait a minute, and
you knew that
Isaac King. Oh, you gonna do Isaac King like
I'm
that?
just saying,
you just did it.
Brooke,
That's my point.
Isaac, Bruce, Marshall, Falk. They was the dogs.
Yes, they were the dogs, and they had another one with them. He ain't no puppy either, Isaac King. They were dogs. Point being, you scored 31 points, and Acho wants to take it out of context, his words, and say, you can't split the ball in 3 and 4. What does that matter? You scored 31 points, so we don't have a problem offensively. And on top of that, we don't have a problem having too much talent. As a matter of fact, since you want to use quotes, how about this? Here's a quote. Don't take my word for it. Listen to his teammates. And when they said, Brady doing it on the biggest stage has inspired all of us. We have a ton of confidence in him, and he puts that confidence in us as well. That's coming from Devin White. You know who Devin White is? He had a game. He's a beast, and I got to give him this props. 3 sacks, 12 tackles, 4 for loss, 3 quarterback hits, and 2 passes defense on that vaunted defense. You ever had a game like that? Me either. That's the point. They have defenders. They have players. You can never have too much talent, and you got to go.
Let me ask you this, because you've been bobbing and weaving this like Ali in his prime for the last 2 weeks. I've told you, and the stats back it up, Tom Brady and the Buccaneers do not perform the same in primetime games. For y'all that ain't been tuning in, non-primetime games, Ronald Jones, top-tier running back in the NFL, Buccaneers lead running back when he's healthy, 16 carries a game. Primetime games, Ronald Jones, only 9 carries a game. Non-primetime games, Scotty Miller, the early-on hero for the Bucs, 4 targets a game, 430 yards on the season. Primetime games, Scotty Miller only has 2 targets a game. At least, don't act like that's coincidence. Does it not worry you that the Bucs can't win in prime? They change their whole identity in primetime games, and they can't beat playoff teams? Okay, let me answer it after I get a nugget off. You know me, I love my nuggets. Tom Brady, second half, most yards by any quarterback this year in the second half. Can you applaud that? At least an old ass man out there. Election bias. Collection bias. Okay, I'll give you that. All right, let me answer your question. Since you're playing the NFC least winner, that playoff game won't be in primetime. Not a problem. Let's roll on, big dog. Coming up, Jalen Hurts had a big game yesterday. You hate me. But his Eagles still lost. We'll tell you if he has officially taken Carson Wentz's job next. Oh, this is going to be fun. But coming up, Jalen Hurts had a big game yesterday, but his Eagles still lost. I just read that, didn't I? Next, speak for yourself. I just repeated myself. I swear. Yeah.
Hey, Speak for Yourself listeners. It's Charlotte Wilder here to tell you about my new podcast with Mark Titus called the People's Sports Podcast. It comes out every Thursday, and Mark and I take one of the big stories of the week, and then we go off on tangents you never saw coming. This might mean that we start talking about the Dodgers winning the World Series and end up wondering if Knicks fans deserve happiness. Or begin with LeBron's greatness and end up drafting our ultimate beer league softball team made up of old athletes. Whatever it is, the only rule of the show is that it has to be fun and funny, because these days we could all use as many laughs as we can get. So check it out wherever you get your podcasts and come down weird sports rabbit holes with us. We can't wait to have you. Now, back to Speak for Yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Jalen Hurts stepped up big time in his second career start Sunday with over 300 yards passing and 4 total touchdowns. Acho. He had a shot to tie it up against the Cardinals in the closing seconds, but his Hail Mary was not answered. Earlier today, Doug Peterson said Hurts will start next week in Dallas. This followed conflicting reports over the weekend that Carson Wentz wants out of Philly if he is the backup. We got to bring in Fox NFL analyst Bucky Brooks, but Acho, coming to you first. Did Jalen Hurts first of all, let me have my composure. Okay, did Jalen Hurts officially take Carson Wentz's job? Please, Acho, let's hear this.
He absolutely did not. And I got to apologize. I feel like Kevin Durant this morning, not because we both went to Texas, but because I was emotionally tweeting yesterday.
I
was emotionally tweeting. Acho took to Twitter and put this out there. I said Jalen Hurts has 4 touchdowns, no picks over his first 6 quarters as a starter. I love Carson as much or more than anyone on this app on Twitter, but it's hard to believe he'll ever get his job back. I was tweeting out of emotion, and it's never good when you tweet out of emotion, so I'm going to trash that. Think before you press send. Think before you press
You are
send.
a character, I say.
Jalen Hurts, he didn't officially take Carson Wentz's job. Because now that I've thought about it, I thought about this. You don't fall in love quicker than it took you to fall out of love.
Woo.
Marcellus, that was a word for you.
That was an Achoism.
Mr. Four Engagements. Shout out to my producer.
Hey, chill.
You don't fall in love quicker than it took you to fall out of love. Eagles fans, can we pump the brakes real quick? I'm going to provide you some ammo, but let's just tap on the brakes like you driving in the snow. You know how to drive in the snow in Philly. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they fell in love real quick with Minshew magic.
Oh.
His first 5 starts, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception. But who's currently looking for a quarterback? Oh, how about the Denver Broncos? They fell in love real quick with Drew Lock. You remember Drew Lock?
Drew down.
Last 5 games of the season last year, Drew Lock comes in for 5 games. You know this Bucky Brooks, NFL analyst. He comes in there, he's swagging, he dancing. The Broncos go 4-1. Drew Lock, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Broncos aren't too satisfied with their quarterback situation. What I'm going to tell y'all is this.
What you going to tell us?
You can't fall in love quicker than you fell out of it. And I was emotionally tweeting. I was caught up in the storm. It was Sunday. I was on my couch. I was all lonely. I was like, oh, Jalen Hurts is going to be the starter, send. And then I woke up this morning and said, Acho, wake up. I had to slap myself in the face. It's not abuse if you slap yourself. I had to slap myself in the face and say, Acho, get it together. Jalen Hurts ain't taking this job right here, right now. Not just yet. Jalen Hurts has been playing great. Been playing great for 8 quarters, but I'm not going to let 8 quarters of good football make me magically forget about Carson Wentz's 3 years. It's not what I'm going to do.
Wow. Let me just answer the question before I get into his take and counter it and everything like that. Yeah, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a vibe in Philly, and yeah, it's a wrap. Jalen Hurts is now your quarterback of the present and of the future. Damn shame, too, because everyone who knows me, forget the takes. If you just know me, I root for all players. But I also root for myself, and then self-preservation will always give you the real. Whether that criticism to you is warranted or not is how I see this situation. I see this situation as it's over. Jalen Hurts is the future. Why? Because I don't think Drew Lock or Minshew Mania, any of those guys were the first player in NFL history to have over 500 yards passing and over 150 yards rushing in their first 2 performances. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. It's one thing to debate over did he lose his job or not, but you're saying that the debate is over the guy who was setting NFL records? Yeah, that might be a guy that you lose your job to. Damn shame, too, because not only did you lose your ring to Nick Foles, now you lost his job to Jalen Hurts. What is going on with Carson Wentz? What did he do in his former life to deserve such a fate? But this is your $128 million man, and we all know financial issues come into play in this conversation. That's why every week after another glowing game from Jalen Hurts, Doug Peterson has to go to the microphone, go to the podium, and lie to America. I need time to think about this one. I need to go home. No, you don't. You know the answer right there in the present. That said, this is a situation that was written not by Jalen Hurts, but by Carson Wentz. His poor performances were so bad that it opened up an opportunity to even draft a Jalen Hurts. More so, give him the opportunity to play. So Carson Wentz, you have no one to blame but yourself in this situation. But the conversation of, is it your job or is it Jalen Hurts? Oh, you know what it is. It's Jalen Hurts, Philadelphia Eagles.
You know, this is interesting, Acho, because I knew you were going to come with a bunch of gas. And so I decided I was going to take a little time. And since you are such a Philly fanatic, I'm going to do this in terms that you can explain it. This reminds me a lot of Rocky III. See, because in Rocky III, we know how Rocky Balboa had been the champion, and he was comfortable. He got satisfied, got money, started kind of slacking off, didn't do what he needed to do. Meanwhile, on the South Side, there was someone that was grinding, that was working every day, that wanted that opportunity. And when they gave him the shot, you know what he did? He knocked him out. And so when I'm looking at Jalen Hurts, and I'm looking at the opportunity that he's had to get, He has jumped in and he's knocked Carson Wentz out. He's knocked him out with his performance. So the first week he got an opportunity, it was, hey, let me show him how nice I am with my legs. So I run for over 100 yards as we score points and we get a dub. Oh, this time against the Arizona Cardinals, they're going to take that away. So I can't really hit him the way I normally hit him. So let me throw for 300, something that we haven't seen your boy do in a minute. And I'm looking at this offense because it's not about individual stats. It's really about how the offense flows. I noticed that the 4 games before Jalen Hurts became the starter, 17 points or fewer in each of those games. Since then, they've scored over 20 points. They've been very competitive. And then when you just use the eyeball test, when I look at this team and I look at the teammates, when Jalen Hurts is on the field, there's a sense of confidence and calm. And so I know Carson Wentz wants to get his job back, but I just don't know how he gets it because based on what he put on tape, it is hard to say that Carson Wentz, you're a better player than Jalen Hurts.
I like your take, Phil. I like your take. Fellas, though, you know when you make a good meal and you taste it and you're like, ooh, this meal tastes good. You know you did well for yourself. That's how I'm about to do, because this take I'm about to give y'all, when I came up with it, I was like, ooh, this take tastes good. I'm putting it to you like this. Jalen Hurts is better for this Eagles team. There we go. Jalen Hurts is better for this Eagles team.
Really?
Jalen Hurts is not necessarily better for the Eagles team. What do I mean? This Eagles team, 13 different starting offensive lines in 14 weeks. NFL record through 14 weeks. This Eagles team, without first-round left tackle Andre Dillard, without all-pro guard Brandon Brooks, without all-pro right tackle Lane Johnson, this Eagles team needs a quarterback to be the playmaker. Job of a quarterback, get your ball into the hands of your playmakers. This Eagles team doesn't have time to let the quarterback do that, nor have the playmakers made plays all season. So this Eagles team desperately needs Jalen Hurts, and that is why Jalen Hurts has shined. But the Eagles team, if we're talking about the roster going forward, in the event their first-round pick Andre Dillard returns healthy, Lane Johnson, former first-round right tackle, returns healthy, all-pro right guard returns healthy, still have your all-pro center returning healthy. In the event that Eagles team is who we expect them to be, then I am not going to jump ship so quickly on what Carson Wentz can do. I'm also going to give it to you like this because it's facts over feelings. Quarterback with the largest dead cap hit this season. You have Nick Foles, Jacksonville Jaguars. You have Joe Flacco with the Broncos. You have Tom Brady with the Patriots. Quarterbacks with the largest dead cap hit this season. How are the Patriots doing this season? Oh, that's not good. How are the Broncos doing this season? That's not good. How are the Jaguars doing this season? That's not good. Y'all heard Bill Belichick tell y'all what you want me to do. My hands are tied. Our cap is tied up. If you're the Eagles and you let Carson Wentz go, and this isn't a trade, you just you somehow let him go, you're going to end up with the similar fate as the Patriots, the Jaguars, and the Broncos, because that dead cap is not something to be played with.
Oh, my God. All right. You taking me all over the place, and I love it because I'm ready to run. I need to lose a couple pounds. Let's go. First, you're tweeting out of emotions. Your hormones are out of control. It's that time of day or time of month. I don't know what the hell.
Season.
Okay, whatever. Then you try to make me go into this whole mental vacuum of this Eagles team versus the Eagles team or that Eagles team. I don't know what the hell you talking about. All I know is Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Carson Wentz. And if you were to put Jalen Hurts on the other Eagles teams that Carson Wentz was a part of, including 2017, I'm not so sure Jalen Hurts wouldn't do as well, if not better, in those situations. So let's talk about what's happening right now. Offense that is looking better with Jalen Hurts than it is with Carson Wentz. Even you can admit that, Acho, with your hormones out of control. You can still see the logic in that, obviously. 12 games Carson Wentz had this year to go out there and score more points than Jalen Hurts did yesterday. And he only did it twice. Out of 12 times, only twice. And that was early part of the year. So now you're looking at a situation where it's just simple. Jalen Hurts is looking like, I'm better than you. But forget performance, because a lot of times we get caught up in just what we see on the field because we're not privy of seeing everything and how he's a citizen, how he's a part of this team as a person before a player. Let's talk about leadership, because you can see some of this in response from his teammates and how they all clamor around him during the game and especially during positive moments of the game. But Carson Wentz has always had character assassinations or at least questions about his leadership as a part of this Eagles franchise. Not with Jalen Hurts. Not a conversation in the world about him in terms of what kind of acumen he has and what kind of leadership ability he has. So now when you add it all up, you're playing better than this guy. You're a better leader for our team, and you're cheaper. Acho just went up here and kind of cooked the books or cooked the calendar or cooked the words. I don't know what he did, but I'm going to read you this again. A lot of times my problem with me in the media, I got a problem with myself in the media. I'm so far ahead. I say stuff so early that when it really happens, people don't even know I said it, don't give me the credit, and then they be like, oh, man, Wiley ain't talking about nothing because it's not in reality just yet. But this is the reality now. I told you what Jason Fitzgerald of Over the Cap said about this Eagles trade of Carson Wentz potentially. Do it after June 1st next year. He count $19 million on the cap for Philly, then $24 million in dead cap in 2022. Why is that doable? Because now you have a second-round quarterback that could be your franchise quarterback. As a second rounder, you know how cheap that is? So then you blend those tabs together, Acho. And when you blend those tabs together, it's not astronomical. It's doable. And that's how I see this playing out. Jalen Hurts, you win these next two games, or at least play as well as you did yesterday in a losing performance. They're going into the offseason looking to trade Carson Wentz by that deadline right there. That's how it's going to play.
Marcellus, you make a great point because you bring up the cap implications, and the cap implications shouldn't be looked at just as Carson Wentz, but you got to look at both of those guys combined. And so when you combine the $19 million in dead cap space that would exist, plus the minimal money that Jalen Hurts is making, look, you come out of it okay. I think it goes beyond the money because I think when you're the coach, you have to think differently than the front office. When you stand in front of your team, how can you confidently say, Carson Wentz gives us the best chance to win? When the guys have been on the field and they've seen how the team responds to Jalen Hurts. And also, just know, there's some old heads that have been in the locker room who also saw the team somehow coincidentally respond better when Nick Foles were there. At some point, you have to look around and wonder, why does the team respond better to the QB2s as opposed to the franchise quarterback? What is it that's missing? And I can sit here and say, Carson Wentz is talented. He is worthy of being a franchise quarterback somewhere. But in Philadelphia, based on how he's played, there is no way that you can stand in front of that room, in front of that team, and say that Carson Wentz gives you the best chance to win. And since he's been such a baby about it over the weekend, I would say, hey, let's make it a competition. But apparently for him, he is so fragile that you can't bring anybody in to compete with him because he gets all distracted. So now he has to find his way out of the building. And I think for a city of Philly that embraces toughness, when you look at the boxes that have come out of Philly and how hard you have to be to have your quarterback not wanting to compete against a guy who is just a second rounder, and you're making $140 million, that's an indictment of him, not on Jalen Hurts and how he plays.
Let's stay here with this 3 box. I want to talk to my fellas. Bucky Brooks, you a married man, sir?
Yes.
Marcellus Wiley, we know you're a married man. Let me just lend you all some advice. The Instagram apps that you all may have on your phone, delete them. Because you all fall for the one-pick trick. See, what that is your homeboy shows you one picture of a lady, and you're like, oh, my God. I've never seen nothing like her before in my life.
I was single.
You all fall for the one-pick trick because y'all don't look at a whole body of work. Y'all don't click on the profile page, get to scrolling and say, you know what? She might have some flaws, too. You know what? She might not be the mother that my wife. You know what? She ain't got nothing on my old lady. See, y'all need to delete your Instagram apps because y'all gentlemen will fall for the one-pick trick that y'all are falling for right now. I'm not saying Jalen Hurts can't take Carson Wentz's job. I'm just saying he has not yet. I'm not saying once you get to know him a little bit better, you cannot fall in love. I'm just saying, fellas, it's been 8 quarters. 8 quarters. It's been 8 quarters, Bucky Brooks. Marcellus, it's been 8 quarters. Like, it ain't not 8 games. Not 8 games. 8 quarters, and here you all are. Oh, I'm just so infatuated. Can you click on his whole profile page? Can you scroll a little bit? Can you see how he looks without makeup on? Can you see how he looks without the weave in? Can you see how he looks when the nails ain't done? Can you see how Jalen Hurts really looks over a period of time before professing your love? After 8 quarters?
Man, that was probably your deepest take ever. You broke it down right there. I mean, you ain't lying. I learned a lot of things, too. I learned, one, that I chose a stalker because he you send one pic, he's diving into your profile page.
All into the background.
First of all, I'm already thinking it's all fake. So I don't care how fine or how ugly you look. I look ugly on my page. Look at me now. So the point is, I ain't reading into your page how you look. Give a damn about that. Hey, kids, put your mama on the phone. Yeah. Hey, honey, I'm never coming home again. Y'all remember that from Harlem Night? Sunshine. Sunshine time. We're not doing that, Acho. You try to put us out there looking bad. This is a better example of a group that had a lead singer named Carson Wentz. And he kept putting out songs and putting out albums, and they just couldn't break through. I mean, they had some moments here and they couldn't break through. Not a top 10 single, anything. And then finally, the backup singer just got his chance. Not once, but twice. 2 different backup singers got their chance. And #1 hits. Both times, we're looking at the lead singer now like, hey, bro, I don't know how we going to reconfigure this. Y'all can compete, have a sing-off. I don't give a damn. But we have to change who's the lead for this team because of how everyone responds to who we are. It's a simple situation for me when I look at it. The first Eagles quarterback in 7 years since Nick Foles, the last QB2, to take something from Carson Wentz, to have 3 touchdowns and run for 1 in a game. It's been 7 years. Carson Wentz, you had your chance. This guy is out there in 2 games setting NFL history and franchise records. It's a wrap. It's a vibe. Coming up, Russell Wilson had a quiet Sunday, but the Seahawks still won. We'll tell you if we're sold on Seattle. That's next. Speak for yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Russell Wilson did not do a lot of cooking Sunday. He threw a touchdown pass late in the first half and was held to a season low in passing yards. But Seattle added 181 yards on the ground and held on to beat Washington. The win clinched a playoff berth for Seattle, who are back in first place in the NFC West. My guy, Bucky Brooks, is back with us. Marcellus, are you sold on Russell Wilson Seahawks? But first, sir, before you answer that, on Friday, Bucky, me and Marcellus on this very show, we bet. I said, hey, Russell Wilson is going to struggle this game. Marcellus said Russell ain't going to struggle. I just want your take, your opinion, Sir Bucky Brooks.
Sir Bucky Brooks.
Please let me know. Is 18 for 27, 121 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception, is that struggling or not for Russell Wilson, Buck?
I mean, they would be struggling because you would be up in arms if Cam Newton put up those numbers.
Ooh.
Anyway.
You'd be lighting Cam up. Lighting him up.
Hello. If you can disregard the Cam Newton jab, Marcellus, just so you know, your boy was right.
You were right?
Anyway.
Oh, you were right?
I digress.
Look, I'm not going to get argumentative up here. Yes, I am. Actually, that's what I love to do. 66% completion percentage is a struggle? Oh, sounds like it was kind of easy. Oh, you attacked them through the ground instead of the air because, 1, they're ranked in rush defense 13th, but in pass defense, they're 2nd. So what will we go into the game trying to do? Run the ball. Okay, so it doesn't sound like you're right. It sounds like this game was out of control, up 20-3. Hand me the joysticks, big dog. Give up the controllers because it's about to be skunk rule, and that's how you got those soft numbers by Russell Wilson. Was it a great game? No. Was it a good game? Nah. Was it all right? Yeah, there you go. Struggle? Nah. Bad? Hell no. I told you didn't win that bet. Let me answer this question. Am I sold on the Russell Wilson Seahawks? Absolutely. Now, I will admit, I think there's a tier difference between the top tier teams in that conference. Let's start with Green Bay, New Orleans, and Tampa Bay. I think those are the top tier teams. And then there's a little gap between them and where Russell Wilson and the Seahawks lie. But when the Russell Wilson Seahawks run the football, and look, let Russ cook is still alive. We know we're going to need Russell Wilson to go out there and have one of those mighty games sooner or later. But they're 7-2 this season when Carlos Hyde plays. Did he play yesterday? Yeah, he's back. 5-1 this season when he has 7 or more carries or touches. So they found a formula of winning success despite what the outlandish numbers may look like in the passing game when Russell Wilson is out there cooking. So I like the balancing act I'm seeing approaching the playoffs. I'm seeing a team that is playing complementary football and looking good. But do I believe in them? Yes. It's just that defense not all the way shored up to the level to compete, to me, with the other three teams in their conference.
Big dog, I'm not sold on Russell Wilson Seahawks. Bucky, I'm not sold on Russell Wilson Seahawks. And it's not so much that Russ can't cook. It's that the Seahawks can't cook. Oh, I'm going somewhere with this one. Y'all remember, and maybe y'all didn't have this issues, but I did. Again, as a bachelor, you always got to cook for yourself. It's you, yourself, and I. It's me, myself, and I in the kitchen. And here's the problem, gentlemen. I don't have a cookbook. So what do? Sometimes I'll put a lot of salt in there, and then it's too salty, but it had just the right amounts of pepper and garlic powder. Next time, I lighten up on the salt, but then I got too much pepper, Sal. I'm like, Acho, get right. Okay, next time, I go right on the salt. I go right on the pepper, but here I come with too much cayenne. I can't get all the ingredients right at the same time in one meal. That's the Seahawks this year. Sal, early on, Russell Wilson, he was cooking. Running game was straight. Defense, atrocious.
Yeah.
Then halfway through the season, defense was playing great. Running game was decent. Russell Wilson, atrocious. Then yesterday, defense played great. Running game played great. But Russell Wilson, atrocious. The problem is, Sal, the Seahawks organization is struggling cooking right now. It's not just a Russ issue, but since we brought up Russ, and since Russ is the highest paid dude on that squad, let's talk about it. Russ, since week 9, can we bring up the full screen? All opponents outside of them Jets. He's 3-3. 7-6 passing touchdowns to interceptions. He lost 4 fumbles, 240 passing yards a game. Marcellus, I'm just not impressed when I think about this great Seattle Seahawks team. Wait a second.
Wait a minute.
Y'all beat Washington by 5? Y'all lost to the Giants at home by 5. Y'all beat the Seahawks by 6? Wait a second. That don't sound right. That doesn't sound like a team that I can just put my full amount of trust in. Last thing I'm going to say on my first lap, and I'm coming out firing all my bullets, is very simple. The Seahawks don't dominate nobody. What's that famous Ed Reed quote? I don't remember if y'all seen it when he was at the U. Coach said dominate, and we not doing it. The Seahawks aren't dominating anybody. You look at a team like the Packers. They've won 6 games by 14+. The Bucs even. They've won 5 games by 14+. The Saints, the Rams, the Cardinals. They've all won 4 games by 14 or more. Then I look at the Seahawks. They've won 1 game by more than 14 points. That was against the New York Jets. Come on, Sal. I'm not sold on these Seahawks, man. I can't be.
See, that's funny, man, because you're always talking about them knockouts and all that. But I saw Floyd Mayweather win 50 fights, and he wasn't really knocking people out. He was just pat, 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 pat. And at the end of the fight, they raised his hand. I think that's all it is. And then when I look at the Seattle Seahawks, I actually believe what has happened of late has actually helped them and made them a more dangerous team. The Seattle Seahawks, their DNA, their identity has always been about the running game and the defense with a little pinch of Russell Wilson being able to make plays when they need it. When you look at how they went to back-to-back Super Bowls, 2013 and 14, it was about the run game leading the way. Now, they don't have a Marshawn Lynch in the backfield, but they have seen when they run the football, it puts the game in their favor because when you run the ball, you eat up the clock, you shorten the amount of, you limit the amount of opportunities that your defense has to get on the field, and that has helped them. Also, the more you give a Russ, the worse it is. We have seen that he turns it over. When you're 10-0, when Russ has 1 turnover or fewer, and 0-4 when he has 2 or more turnovers, as a coach, you say, hey, let's take it out of his hands. Let's not give him too much because we're good enough to do it. And as the defense is beginning to play well, because in their last 4 games, they've held their opponents to 17 or fewer, with Jamal Adams playing like an absolute monster off the edge, they are now rounding into form. And so if you want to get individual accolades for Russell Wilson, let him cook. But if you're about this team and this team going forward, oh, this team is built the right way. They're beginning to look like a dangerous team in the NFC.
Yeah, Bucky, don't make the mistake I make often, and I'm about to make it again, is chasing Acho and his logic train all the way through the wilderness because you're going to get lost like he does as
He's a
well.
national champ, though.
Yeah,
He be chasing me, he just can't catch me,
dog. You run longer than 400 meters. That's all I'm going to say. Your train is longer than... All right, here's the thing. Did y'all catch one of the things he threw out there? Once again, Acho going downhill. Oh, they don't beat anybody bad. Where are the blowouts? And then he named the Bucs. And then a couple blocks ago, last block, did you say that you don't trust the same Bucs team, but they have blowout wins, and you're supposed to ask, like I said, get out the woods, Warley, get out the woods. Okay, here's the thing. I'm going to give you the building blocks of a champion because Acho's take was a little stronger than I wanted it to be. I'm sold on Russell Wilson Seahawks, yes, but you're going to make it more emphatic because you're disagreeing with my take. So let me give you the building blocks. First, put some respect. It doesn't sound like you are doing that. Put some respect on Russell Wilson's name. In 9 years, he has 8 10-plus win seasons. And the only one he doesn't, he won 9 games that year. Respect to Russell Wilson. All right, passing game, good. We know about that. He's an MVP candidate for a reason. 181 yards yesterday. So the running game is in tow now. I told you about Carlos Hyde when he shows up as well, how well they perform. Let's talk about the fact that offensive line, no sacks again. 2 weeks in a row. Wait a minute. LeVar Arrington and Acho were beating me upside the head talking about, oh, Montez Sweat, oh, look out. You know what's about to happen? Oh, that D-line, 4 first-rounders coming at you, look out. What had happened was no sacks again because Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson, smart. Oh, y'all got this strong pass defense, and y'all got all these monsters up front. We're just going to hand the ball off and beat y'all. Okay, check. Offensive line, running game, passing game. Let's talk about now defense. You brought up Jamal Adams, 9.5 sacks, NFL record for a defensive back in a single season. The defense, as you said, giving up fewer points of late. Check, check, check. Let's talk about what Acho should know all about because we all have played the special teams in terms of that unit. What is the kicker Jason Myers doing this year? He made 2 more yesterday. He's made 31 straight going back to last year. He hasn't missed a field goal this year, y'all. Anybody paying attention to that? Okay, let's talk about the punting. What about Michael Dixon? Anybody paying attention to the punting?
He a dog. He went to Texas.
Oh, okay, respect. Net punt average yesterday, since you know he a dog, 51 yards net punt. Pinned him inside the 24 times, inside the 10 3 times. Okay, hidden yardage, Acho, running the football, letting Russ cook when necessary and passing the football, and playing better defense than they were earlier in the year. All of that adds up to a team you should believe in. Unfortunately, Acho, you lost in the woods.
This how I know Marcellus is grasping for straws. Bucky, we are on a national sports show with limited time to give fire takes. And he up here talking about special teams.
I knew you were going to do that.
I know. Like, we're on a national show right now, Sam. With limited time. This ain't no 3-hour, 4-hour show. We got limited time.
Yeah, like that.
You talking to me about special teams. Here I'm going to do you, though, Bucky. Watch how I trap this man. Marcellus, Buccaneers, you think they win a playoff game this year?
Do I think they will? Hell yeah, they play the NFC East.
No doubt about it. Well, right now, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like the Buccaneers and the Seahawks might have a matchup round 1.
They got there, too.
So if you sure that the Bucs going to win a playoff game, but you also sold on the Seahawks, they got to play each other right now. Oh, looks like you caught there, but I got you one more, Marcellus, because even if the Seahawks, who right now are the 3 seed and the Bucs are the 6 seed, so I believe if my math ain't wrong, they play each other early on. You correct me, though. You know this new playoffs throw me off. If my math ain't wrong, even if the Seahawks move around a little bit and they end up playing the NFC least team, say the Seahawks end up at the 5 and this NFC least team is at the 4. Wait a second, Sel. The Seahawks only beat the Cowboys by 7 early on before the Cowboys learned how to play football. Seagulls only beat the Eagles, the Carson Wentz Eagles, by 6. Y'all say Carson sucks. Wait, the Seahawks lost to the Giants at home, and the Seahawks only beat Washington by 5, and Washington was on their 3rd-string quarterback, if you let Ron Rivera call it. So even if the Seahawks does end up playing the NFC East, they struggle. If the Seahawks play your Bucs, you just told me your Bucs was going to win. Come on, Sal, make it make sense. Coming up,
that's how we're going
the
to do
Browns are right in the middle of the AFC playoff picture. I'll tell you why Baker Mayfield's team is the real deal. Yes, speak for yourself.
You're watching Speak for Yourself. Marcel Swally, Emmanuel Acho up here.
My dog.
Exchanging jabs. So let's have some more fun. Let's head to Cleveland, where the Browns won their 10th game of the season yesterday for the first time since 2007. Baker Mayfield threw 2 touchdown passes with only 5 incompletions and 0 turnovers. Cleveland has now won 5 out of 6 and are in the 5th seed in the AFC. Bucky is back, but Acho, Are Baker's Browns for real?
Oh, yes, and yes, sir. They have been for real, though, Sel. Like, that's what's so crazy to me is you're asking me this like it's some sort of tough question. Like, there's a trick. Like, hey, Acho, are they for? Yes, they for real. They do everything you need a good football team to do.
Everything?
They run everything. Run the ball, stop the run, turnover battle. They win the turnover battle. They have a great pass rusher in Myles Garrett. They have an elite cornerback in Denzel Ward. They do everything you need them to do. So I don't understand how you can say that they're not for real. Last 4 games, Baker Mayfield going crazy. Like, not only is he being good, Sel, he's being elite. Last 4 games, a quick full screen if we don't mind. 10 touchdowns, 1 pick. Look at completion percentage, because Marcellus, you love that.
That's my favorite. So much for that stat. That's my favorite.
But look at completion percentage, 70%. Passer rating, 117. But Marcellus, Baker knew we were going to have this topic. So I saw a play, and I said, Baker must have done this just for Marcellus Wiley. I said, we got to pull this play. Because Baker could have taken the easy route to David Njoku right here. Njoku's wide open, but he's like, nope. I got a showboat for Marcellus. I can hit the layup. I want to hit the 3. He chose to make an even more difficult pass when he could have taken the layup because he knew Marcellus Wiley was going to try to come at his neck. Baker Mayfield is for real. The Cleveland Browns are for real. Kevin Stefanski is for real. You better start putting some respect on their names, Sal.
He ain't even seeing Joko threw that ball. He didn't know what he was throwing that ball through. Throw that ball out of the damn end zone. Oh, touchdown. Yay. He was at the 3-yard line. You talking about three-pointer. That wasn't no long touchdown. I could lay down and go from the end zone to that ball. That wasn't that far. Get out of here. Okay, Baker Mayfield and the Browns. Are you for real? No. You're not for real. Like, for real? Like, y'all gonna do something? Like, FRs, these kids always hit me up. At first, I was like, fruh? I'm like, what the hell does that mean? These kids hitting me, texting me, talking about fruh. I was like, all right.
Yo, real talk, I still didn't know what that meant until you said it right now.
Oh, real?
I see it on social media like, FR.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a typo.
Dog, we are acting like our parents. Fruh? No, they're not fruh. Let me tell you why they're not fruh. This is simple. Baker Mayfield, I'm going to ask one question. I'm going to get to my full screen, then I'll get into my take. Let Bucky go and take it away wherever he's going to take it. Are they good against good teams? Acho always, when it's someone he doesn't like or any other team in the league or any other quarterback, he always says, well, what do you do against the other playoff teams and other good teams? I'm going to just pose the same question. Let's look at this right now. Baker Mayfield being half-baked. His record versus teams that are under 500, impeccable. I mean, if they could just make the postseason, the Baker Mayfield Browns would be Super Bowl champions. But that's not who makes it. It's the teams on the right side, that category, the teams above 500. And I didn't say perfect. I didn't say one loss. I said just above 500. And then look at that completion percentage that I love so much. Look at the giveaways that I don't like. And that passer rate, Baker Mayfield. Take that away. He's fool's gold. You know why? Because everyone is getting lost in the outcome of these games and thinking that, I should marry the outcome of the game to the performance of Baker Mayfield. You can't do that. Baker Mayfield lit it up yesterday. He's had moments where he lit it up. He hasn't had consistent moments where he lights it up. But yesterday he did. 84% completion percentage in that game. What a guy who is still on the season at 64%, which is 30th in the NFL. Damn near at the bottom in the NFL. When you light it up and have an 84% game, you know what that means? Most of the times, you're not living up to that standard or even close to it. So when I look at a guy and a team that is still posting, Acho, I need Acho's face on this one.
What's up, dog?
Acho.
What's up?
The Cleveland Browns have a negative point differential, and they're 10-4. You can't make this up. The Cleveland Browns are 17th in the entire NFL in point differential. There are 15 teams
that sounds smart.
that have positive point differential. They're between the Bears and the Patriots in point differential. That's what kind of team they really are, too, when they go against a team that's going to take away plan A. But the point is, Acho wants me to anoint a team that hasn't even scored more points than they're giving up. Acho, Bucky, anybody?
Hey, real quick, Buck. Real quick. I need a little something right here. I need a little meat on that bone real quick, Bucky. Look, If anything, Marcellus, you thought you was killing me with that take. You was really giving me strength because you said that the Browns have a bad point differential, but still 10-4.
Negative.
All that means to me is when they lose, they earn them losses. That's it.
They get smashed.
I got smashed on fantasy football yesterday. I lost like 200 to 119. I woke up this morning and I said, at least I didn't lose close. Because a loss is still a loss. When the Browns take their L's, they take their L's, and they get them out the way. What's up,
You ain't
Buck?
teaching no kids that.
No, so here's the thing, because we have to separate too, because like you're such the number 6 homer that I want to make sure that I give him his proper respect while also acknowledging the Browns as a dominant, well, a team that's emerging as a dominant team in the AFC. When I look at this team, I really like how they play. I like the running game. I like Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. They have a dominant 1-2 punch in the backfield. When I look at this offensive line, the offensive line is terrific. They move people. They mash people. That's why they can control it in the trenches. You go to the defense side of the ball. They're dominant in the trenches. Sheldon Richardson, Olivier Vernon. You look at Myles Garrett. That is how you win. The only question that I have for the Browns is Baker Mayfield. And I thought for a minute you slipped and uttered elite quarterback, but you were talking about cornerback and then their award. And so I had to get off my thing because I said, did he just say elite
Me too.
quarterback?
Me too.
And so I get that. But look, I will give Baker Mayfield his credit. He has been terrific the last 4 weeks. He has thrown the ball well. He has done a great job of getting into the playmakers. He's playing within the system. The performance he put on last night against the Giants was almost virtuoso. But that's what you expect from the number 1 overall pick. He's supposed to do those things. It would be like I'm surprised that he's doing those things. I shouldn't be surprised he came into the league as the number 1 overall. That's what he's supposed to do. And so, yes, it's working out well for the Browns. The Browns are in the mix. They should go to the playoffs unless they trick it off. But right now, the Browns are trending in the right directions. Kudos to Kevin Stefanski for putting it together. Great job.
As I sit here as the defendant, can I please speak to these 2 plaintiffs, if I will? Gentlemen, because the burden of proof, it does fall on you all. And I thought about this morning. I thought about this.
Doing a good job.
The only way that y'all can say the Browns are not a legitimized team, the only way y'all can do this is by saying Baker's not legit. That's your only plausible way. Can't talk about the run game. Can't talk about the skill positions. Can't talk about the pass rush.
We don't need
you can't talk. That's the only thing you can say.
That's all we need.
It was all you needed.
When?
Until Baker Mayfield has 10 touchdowns to 1 pick. It was all you needed until Baker Mayfield has a 70% completion percentage the last 4 games. It was all you needed. Sal, remember, because you said you hooped growing up.
1 year.
That's fine.
And that wasn't good.
That's fine. Even we can talk track. We can talk any other sport.
Okay, good.
Whatever sport you want to talk.
Suck.
Remember, let's talk track then.
Yeah.
If the dude has great top-end speed, Usain Bolt, we know he had great top-end speed. But what did Usain Bolt struggle at? Struggled at the start. Bucky Brooks, I just want to hear
And that's relatively speaking.
Relatively speaking.
Let's
Bucky
chill.
Brooks, what did Usain Bolt struggle at?
The start.
He
struggled
at the start. So if Usain Bolt, who's already invincible, if he took the one thing he struggled at and made it a strength, could he lose? Okay, where's Acho going?
Nowhere.
The Browns. What's the one thing, Sal, they struggled at? The quarterback position. Bucky, the Browns, what's the one thing they struggled at? The quarterback position. So if now the Cleveland Browns have taken the one thing that they struggled at and made it a strength, how in the world are y'all telling me that the Browns...
Get him, Bucky. You go first, Bucky, then let me get some of them ribs.
I wouldn't go so much and say it's a strength. He's playing well, but we've seen guys because, in the previous segment, you said sample size when we were talking about Jalen Hurts. So let's make sure we use those same things. I like him to carry over. So when I think about sample size for Baker Mayfield, those last 4 games, he has been outstanding. He has absolutely been outstanding, beating up on the Munchkins, beating up on the Jaguars, the Titans' bad defense, the Giants, who are talent deficient because James Bradbury didn't play last night. So, yes, he has absolutely done a great job. Those are fantastic numbers. But you know what this reminds me of? Kevin Stefanski, I think you remember this, Acho. He came from the Minnesota Vikings. And a couple years ago, the Minnesota Vikings had a quarterback that played out of his mind in a similar system. I think his name is Case Keenum. And then Case Keenum had to play for real, and then we saw what the real Case Keenum was about. And so part of the reason there's a little hesitancy about the Browns is because everyone has seen their quarterback struggle for a while, and they just want to make sure which Baker Mayfield is going to show up to the dance. Is he going to show up with two left shoes, or is he going to show up with his shoes on? He's going to do the swag thing. Is he going to be the guy that we've seen the last couple of weeks? And so I believe in the Browns. I just have reservations about the quarterback, and I think those concerns are just.
Here's my problem, y'all. And y'all know this. Y'all probably got that one relative that done got into some trouble, got locked up, bad reputation in the neighborhood.
Only one?
Everybody got that one.
One?
I got one. Everybody got that one. And the problem is, hopefully they ain't got the same last name as y'all. Because if they got the same last name as y'all, then when you meet somebody, they gonna hear that last name and be like, uh-oh. Then they gonna try to write you off because of the last name. Bucky, that's what you're doing with Baker Mayfield. You're hearing that name Mayfield, and you're thinking about his 2 previous years of struggle, and you're going, uh-oh. Instead of looking at the right here and now. 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 64% completion percentage. Lamar Jackson, 21 passing touchdowns, 28 total, 8 interceptions, 64 completion percentage. If Mayfield's last name was Jackson, if it was Allen, if it was Breeze, if it was Brady, if it was Rodgers, if it was Wilson, you would be looking at these stats and being like, hey, Browns are Super Bowl favorites. But because of that bad uncle, because of that last name, you're looking at Baker and going, uh-oh. Come on, Bucky Brooks.
Let me push back on that, because the reason I never had to fight growing up, and I'm not a fighter now, is because I had the last name of some of them uncles in them streets. And when people say, hey, that's Wiley, nephew, space. They actually, I just thought, give young homie a pass, because that's Lil Wiley. So it works both ways, Acho. If you can impress us. No one had favor for Hurts, his last name, till he went out there in 2 games and gave us NFL franchise and history-making moments. Then we started to put some respect on your last name, Hurts. And guess what, Mayfield? You haven't done enough consistently to make us put something on your last name. Acho, I'm going to give this to you in totality. I agree wholeheartedly with Bucky. There's nothing wrong with this team, and there's nothing even really wrong with Baker Mayfield, except he's just not on the same level as this team is, and I think he's going to be the reason they have a one and done in the playoffs. I got to give it to you short. 8-0 record that they have against the teams that are under 500 includes a 4-0 record of the NFC East. They wiped out the NFC East. Oh, that's good. And everyone's talking about these last 4 games. What, you mean, the 2-point win over Jacksonville? Oh, okay. Tennessee, 1 half, and then the second half they adjusted and he didn't do jack? Okay. Baltimore, under 60% and an 87 rating in that game? Okay. And the Giants game. The Giants are sorry, y'all. And you know why the Giants are sorry? Because Carson Wentz went out there and lit them up, had a better game against them than Baker Mayfield did. Nick Mullins beat the Giants and had a better game than Baker Mayfield. But we go in there and calling either one of them a franchise quarterback going forward? No. So why are you doing it with Baker Mayfield? Makes no sense, Acho. Coming up, Trevor Lawrence might not be going to the Big Apple this next season after all. We'll tell you if the Jets should be celebrating their first win. That's next. Speak for yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. The Jets are finally in the win column. They upset the Rams yesterday for their first win of the year after losing the first 13 games. One problem, though. The win means the Jets are no longer the front runners for the #1 pick in the draft. The Jaguars are now in the driver's seat to take the presumed top pick, Clemson quarterback Trevor Lawrence. Y'all know the name. Bucky is still here with us. I don't know why. But Marcellus, to the Jets, Jets be celebrating their first win of the season or not?
Absolutely. I'm not feeling the way you asked the question, your tone. And I'm also not feeling just the literal question, like win and celebrate. Like, whoever questions should you celebrate a win? Yes, they should be. And I understand where this is going. I know where this conversation is heading. Well, what about the benefits of tanking and having the first overall pick? Hey, dog, can you not leverage the #2 overall pick? Can you not leverage Justin Fields to a team that is sitting there saying, hey, I'll take him because he's still a franchise quarterback, at least as a prospect? Yes, you can. So stop acting like the sky is falling. But look, you got a 37-year-old future Hall of Famer and Frank Gore on this team who was telling everyone, and after the game, you could hear his excitement, hey, I'm about to retire, y'all. The last thing I need on my resume is a 0-16 winless season. So they went out there and they didn't win one for the Gipper. They won one for Frank Gore in that respect. And people were talking tanking about this Jets team all year long, and I kept pushing back. I went to the Jets game against the Chargers. Them dudes ain't sorry. A bunch of black belts walking around there who didn't have necessarily the wins to show their efforts, but they still were given that same effort. You guys know the story of how Adam Gase received a phone call 4 a.m. Pacific time from one Sean McVay during the week. Unconventional call. Just say, hey, man, I just got to congratulate you guys on the effort. I know you're not in the win column just yet, but damn, these dudes are out there hunting. Yeah, and there's facts and stats to support that. For the 8th straight game, they went out there and scored on their opening drive. Jets ain't playing from hello. They were trying to win this ball game and have been trying to win ball games. After they get smoked by the Seattle Seahawks, this is how they respond. This is how they rebound from a game like that. So to me, of course, you're supposed to celebrate a successful moment like this. Give a dog a bone. No matter what your long-term sights are, you still got to celebrate and start to establish a winning culture, even if it's only one win.
Winning culture. A winning culture. Got to establish a winning culture. Because one win established that winning culture.
Oh, it's better than a loss. It beats the alternative.
Don't make this take so complicated. The players should absolutely be celebrating the win. You play to win the game. The players should absolutely be celebrating the win. That's about it, though. I mean, like, the organization should definitely not be celebrating the win. The Jets, that city in New York, and the Jets faithful, absolutely not celebrating the win. Marcellus, you know you shouldn't be celebrating when, like, your opponent is also celebrating. You know, at the end of a game, if you sitting there, yeah, we won, and then you look and they celebrate, and you're like, wait a second, who really won?
Yeah, who won?
Bruh, did y'all not see what the mayor of Jacksonville tweeted out this morning?
Oh, he ain't the opponent.
The New York freaking Jets delivered an early Christmas present to Jacksonville today. Seriously, the Jets win could be a defining moment for our ball club. See you at the draft. Still, if you celebrating and they celebrating, you probably shouldn't be celebrating. But here, I'm going to leave it to you like this, because I've given y'all some antics. I've given y'all gyrations. Yeah. I'm just speak to y'all. 33% of NFL rosters turn over each year. 33%. Right. So these Jets players that just won this game, 33% of them not even going to be there next year. So when you're talking about next year and the future of the Jets franchise, 33% of the players not even going to be there. So, like, I get y'all got this win, but I've been on a 4-12 team before.
Me too.
4-12, 2-14, 1-15, 0-16. Like, you not waking up at night like, oh, man, I'm glad we got that one win. Instead, y'all missing out on Trevor Lawrence, or even more than Trevor Lawrence, the thought of Trevor Lawrence. Because the thought of Trevor Lawrence may be greater than Trevor Lawrence ever turned out to be. Like the thought of Jameis Winston, or you could argue even the thought of Andrew Luck. The thought of the #1 overall pick, generational type of talents, is typically and often greater than the talent itself. Meaning, you could have leveraged it. I'm going to end this take, but just know the value of a quarterback, in which a lot of people want, ooh, it's hard to put a price tag on.
It is hard to put a price tag on it, but I'm going to take this and I'm going to take it a different way. You can't blame the Jets for celebrating because Sam Darnold had an opportunity to control his fate and his destiny. And what Sam Darnold did is, in that game against the Rams, he took control of the game and said, I am the quarterback of the Jets. They need to look no further. I am that guy. Something that maybe your boy Carson Wentz could have taken a hit from, but we won't go there. But Sam Darnold said, I am the quarterback of this team. I'm going to make sure that the Jets know that I'm the quarterback of this team with my play and my performance. For the Jets and their fans, they can be a little disappointed that maybe the novelty or the idea of Trevor Lawrence won't come to fruition. But let's also look at it this way. Trevor Lawrence isn't the only quarterback in this draft. There are other teams that need quarterbacks. If you want to move off of that pick at #2, you still can get a boatload of picks, because whether it's Zach Wilson or Justin Fields or Trey Lance, there are other teams that need a QB1. They still have to come up to #2. So, yes, it's disappointing that maybe the guy from Clemson won't be your quarterback, but you still have the opportunity to upgrade your team in other areas and aspects.
Yeah. Acho, you're taking me to a dark place right now.
Oh, God, no.
And,
I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
First, before I go into this dark place, I just want to alert everyone out there watching this right now that Acho's a liar. Like, I don't use that. Like, he calls me a liar a lot, but he's a liar. Acho, looking at the 3 years you played in the NFL.
Played 4. Give me my last one. I was hurt, but give me my last one.
Oh, okay. The last year? Okay, 4th year.
Broke my thumb.
I don't see a 4-12 record here. I don't see a 1-15 record here, as you just went out there and stated. Once again, when Acho starts rolling, you got to check his facts.
2012 Cleveland Browns. Let me see.
But let me take you to this dark place, because I can go here.
Acho fudging your resume.
Acho will make up some team records.
I was on the Browns
just to be like, no, I was on a sorry team, too.
Oh, you're right. We was 5-11.
Dog, I ain't up here trying to throw stones.
We were so 5-11, 4-12. Ain't no difference.
Oh, see that? And you went right to that dark place. Open the door, Acho. I'm in there already. Okay. Not only have I been on a 5-11 team, but let's go all the way back that you probably can't Google. I was on an 0-10 team in high school. Yeah. Senior year, Acho. So, you know, the year where you're supposed to shine the most, get your recruiting letters and everything. We were out there OFA on the field. Getting our handed to us every single week. Retroactively, we actually got a win because the team had an ineligible player. So we're 1-9 in the record books. You won't know that. But on the field, we were 0-10. Acho, let me tell you the difference between being on the sorry teams I was on in the NFL, 5-11 like you and stuff, and being on a team that never won a game. Oh, when someone walks up to you and say, how y'all do this year? You ever do this to kids? Hey, I want to be in the NFL like you. Acho, yeah, where you play? So-and-so. Okay, how y'all doing? Y'all good? You know they sorry. Okay, but there's a difference between being sorry and being winless. Winless is a whole different animal. And as the only one up here who's ever been on a winless team, trust me, they were fighting for something. That's why they were in so many close ball games. Think about, ask the Bills, the Patriots, the Chargers, the Raiders, and now the Rams. Hey, you play the Jets, it could be a one-possession game even if you come out in victory. But the Rams found out that that one-possession game can end up in defeat as well. I'm just saying, Trevor Lawrence looks amazing. We'll see the conversion to the pro level. But damn, Justin Fields looks good as well. And with a number 2 overall pick, build around Sam Darnold, get him assets and resources around him, and let's go forward, leveraging the number 2 overall pick.
All I'm going to say is this. We've been giving y'all a lot of feelings. I'm going to give y'all some facts. The number 1 overall pick, or a quarterback that a lot of people love, we know people are willing to give up a lot of draft capital for that. I'm going to give y'all 2 facts very quickly. Robert Griffin, the Rams. The Redskins gave up a first-rounder and a second-rounder, 3 first-rounders, that is, to the Rams for Robert Griffin.
But he wasn't number 1.
He was number 2. But he was highly valued.
That's my point.
He was more
valued
valued than Justin Fields right now, but I won't get into the semantics. The Redskins gave up 3 firsts and a second to the Rams. Rams ended up in the Super Bowl. How about Jared Goff? The Rams gave up 2 firsts, 2 seconds, 2 thirds to them Titans. Y'all see what the Titans have done the last 2 years. All I'm going to say is, let's talk about the feelings, and the facts, rather, over the feelings.
Liar.
Coming up,
Liar.
The Ravens won their 3rd straight game Sunday, but I'll tell you why I'm not a believer in Baltimore. That ain't it. Next,
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Lamar Jackson threw an interception on the Ravens' first drive yesterday. Then he went on to overdrive. Lamar finished with 4 total touchdowns in the Ravens' blowout win against the Jags. Baltimore has now won 3 straight and are still in the hunt for a playoff spot. So, Acho, are you a believer in the Ravens?
Big dog, I'm not. I wish I was. I wish I was a believer in that man, Lamar Jackson. I wish I was a believer in that dude, because that's
Big trust.
That's a bad man. You ain't hear much of that this year, though.
Because we already heard it last year. Don't do that.
Because it ain't no trust.
Wow, really? Oh, really?
No trust.
You gonna play the same song Beyonce? No. Play a new one.
Look, I'm not a believer because, Marcellus, do you want me to let a blowout win over the Jaguars turn me into a believer?
No.
You want to let this blowout win over the Cowboys turn me into a believer? Now, they had a good win over the Browns. Kudos to that. But what did I tell y'all right after that game? The Ravens have a mental stronghold over the Browns right now that I gave Browns props on for overcoming. But I'm not going to applaud them for beating the Jaguars. I'm not going to believe in them now for beating the Cowboys. No, like, you know who the Ravens are this year. They're a team that has, to a degree, been figured out. Not fully been figured out, but to a degree, they've been figured out. The other reason is what are we believing in the Ravens for? I'm believing in that. The question predicates believing in them to win a Super Bowl, believing in them to win a playoff game, believing in them to make the playoffs. Still, they need help just to make the playoffs. Like, they need the Dolphins to lose to the Bills or the Dolphins to lose to the Raiders. What do they need? They need the Colts to lose to the Steelers, if I'm not mistaken. Like, they need help just to get to where they trying to go, big dog. So I'm not a believer myself.
Okay, Acho's about to die. Everybody gather around. Give him your last words. Acho's dying. Big trust still. Okay, Acho.
What up, man?
You want to believe in a team that lost to a team you don't believe in, and they just lost to that team. Cleveland just played them. How did that turn out? Okay, but you believe in Cleveland and not the team that's better. And that team was out without that guy for a quarter and a half, 2 quarters, it felt like. And he still came in to save the day and beat the Cleveland Browns. But that's not my strength or my point. I'm really going to talk about why this team is going to be a team you should believe in. They're second in the NFL in scoring differential, behind only Kansas City. Do you believe in Kansas City?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you should believe in a team right behind them in terms of point differential. And let me tell you, I know you're going to laugh at point differential until you realize this nugget. Acho, I got 3 kids and I stay up late. 2 teams ranking in the top 5 in point differential have been in the Super Bowl the last 3 years. Oh, wait a minute. So if you're in the top 5 last year, year before, you're in the Super Bowl, we're going to pick from those 5 teams. Ravens are in there. You know where Cleveland is? Not in there. But you still believe in Cleveland. Okay, the last time we seen a team outside the top 5 in point differential in the Super Bowl was 2015. Acho. That's not even the strength of my point. That's not even the premise. Here's the premise. Cleveland Browns, Baker Mayfield out there doing the Connor walk and all this stuff. All y'all pumped up. Everybody hitting me up on Twitter about the 2 Cleveland Browns. You know there's a chance they don't even make the playoffs? If they were to lose 1 game, do they play Pittsburgh still? Do they play the Steelers still? Yes. Did they beat them the first time? Oh, no, they got drugged by them the first time. So wait a minute. If Cleveland splits and Big Trust just wins out, you know what happens? Baltimore gets the tiebreaker. Baltimore's in the playoffs and Cleveland out of the playoffs. Y'all gonna win the next 2 games? Let's talk about that, because I think Big Trust and the Ravens with the easier schedule, they will.
You see me smiling as you throw all these punches. It's because I know that I'm bobbing them like I'm in the Matrix, and the bullets are flying by, and I'm whisking them away, and then I catch one bullet like he did in the Matrix.
Yeah, that
and
was
then he
good.
dropped it, and they all fell. Marcellus, your argument is predicated upon faulty logic, because the game of football is all about matchups. Are the Ravens better than the Browns? Sure. But is rock better than scissors? Absolutely.
Oh, you want that again?
But isn't paper better than rock? So the game of football is all about matchups. You did just shoot. But Marcel's like, I did this. And then I caught that one bullet and just told you about the game of football and how it's all about
Pittsburgh. Get him, Pittsburgh. Get him, Pittsburgh.
It's up in the air right now. We'll tell you which one of the 4 teams can make the most noise in the playoffs. Speak for yourself is next.
Yo, Cleveland out the playoffs and
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Let's get to the puzzle that is the NFC East. Washington lost yesterday, but they're still in first place. The Cowboys were the only team in the division to win yesterday, and they're now just a game out of first. And the Giants and the Eagles are both still alive as well. So, Marcellus, let's try to solve this puzzle, solve this riddle. I was never good at Rubik's Cubes, however.
Me either.
I was terrible. Terrible at them. But I think I can figure this one out.
Okay.
Which NFC East team could make the most noise in the playoffs?
You didn't figure it out. Okay. It's all good. I do it all the time, every day. It would be the Dallas Cowboys. I used to take the stickers off. That was that ghetto. I was like, man, forget this. Stickers on leaning like this. I'm like, you didn't figure this out. Yeah, I did. Watching that. All right, here we go. Dallas Cowboys. All right, how did they get in? Carolina beats Washington. Dallas beats Philly. Philly beats Washington, and Dallas beats the New York Football Giants. Ding, 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 ding. Figured out the Rubik's Cube without changing the stickers. All right. And I want this to happen. I'm rooting for it. Not because I'm a former Cowboy. Actually, I get no love from the Cowboys because of what I did on that field. No one loves me in the Cowboys organization. So this is not me taking care of the Cowboys organization. It's simple as this. We talked about their soul. We talked about their psyche. We talked about the way that they played the game. We talked about them as men. We have dogged that team, and they are still standing.
Yeah.
So if you're still standing, you know what? I'm going to actually reward that type of resilient behavior by this team. Talented team. Here's some nuggets to talk about what they're doing on the field. DeMarcus Lawrence, who you've been calling out a lot, is ranked the number 4 edge defender in the NFL this season by Pro Football Focus.
So now you care about
Behind Khalil Mack, T.J. Watt, and Joey Bosa. Ahead of Myles Garrett, J.J. Watt, Trey Flowers, and Chase Young. Got to look at the film a little different right there, Acho. Also, 11 takeaways since week 11, the most in the NFL. Playing better defense, got some defenders out there, causing turnovers with a real quarterback who hasn't won in the postseason. But if you give him an opportunity, we can do that. All that said, go Cowboys, go.
I'm disregarding this tape, and it's very simple as to why. Whenever I tell Marcellus, hey, I was an all-pro special teams player in 2014, he's like, based on what? I say Pro Football Focus. He's like, that don't count. But then he gonna lead his whole take with DeMarcus Lawrence, based on Pro Football Focus, is a better pass rusher than now Pro Football Focus matter. Come on, big dog. But look, I'm gonna do it to you like this. I'm gonna make it real short and real sweet for the people.
All right.
The NFC is predicated upon quarterbacks that can pass the football. The playoffs. Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Kyler Murray, the list goes on and on. That's the NFC. Not the AFC, but that's the NFC. So I'm going with the team, the NFC East team, that's best at stopping you at what you do best. That's Washington. Washington can make the most noise in the playoffs because they have the number 4 total defense, number 4 in passing yards allowed, number 5 in scoring defense, and number 2, most importantly, in pass defense. Bill Belichick has made a living. Bill Belichick has won Super Bowls based on making you play left-handed. Okay, your star receiver, we're going to take him out the game. You better be able to run the ball. Okay, your star running back, we're going to take him out the game. You better be able to pass the ball. What Washington does, and it's more so by chance than it is by choice, all the NFC teams have star quarterbacks. So all the NFC teams pass the ball incredibly well. But because of how Washington plays the game, you're going to have to beat them left-handed. Seahawks did do that. Seahawks had 181 rushing yards. They beat them left-handed. Washington, though, was on a third-string quarterback and still only lost by 5 points. Washington could make the most noise in the NFC East.
Oh, man, that game was over. That was the joystick. Give him up.
It's 21-0 skunk, not 20-3 skunk.
But 20-3, and you got the ball, we like, yo, it's raps. That's what happened in this game simply is they didn't left-handed. 181 yards rushing. Russell Wilson balling. Did y'all get any sacks?
Balling. 121 yards is balling.
Yeah.
121 yards.
Yes, because they were up 20-3. Did he get a sack? Did anybody get a sack? Anybody on the rest?
Tease. You don't hear
no.
Tease.
Coming up.
Go to break.
Uncle Jimmy is getting the week started with thoughts on what is going on in Philly with Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson. That's next. Speak for yourself. Don't think he was balling? Before we go, Uncle Jimmy joins us. A lot of drama going on in Philly. So here you have some things to get off your chest, little bitty chest. Let's go, Uncle.
Look here, man.
What up, Uncle?
Remember that time when you thought you was in a relationship and you started having a feeling in the pit of your stomach like you might actually be in an entanglement? Well, see, and you don't really know what's going on. You just know that something's going on.
That's real, huh?
But see, we as men, we all handle that thing the exact same way. Meaning we wait till our lady go to sleep and then we go through her phone. Well, see, that's exactly what happened to Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson.
What happened, huh?
See, Carson Wentz a good dude. He just got a soft side. And he been feeling some kind of way lately. He done went through Doug Peterson's phone and found some pictures of Jalen Hurts. See, I don't even try to say what them pictures was. All I'm going to say is Carson tweeted, and I quote, "Get me the hell out of here. There's no way I can measure up to this guy either." Now, I don't know what the hell he's making a reference to, but I think it's got something to do with Big Nick Folk. Hey, man, somebody needs to help Carson.
I'm done with you. I'm done with you, too. Take my jacket off, too, next time. Fox Bet Live is next. What are we doing?